Hi, everybody. I'm it's Adam from Cinemadness, the podcast. If you're seeing this video, that means you follow Cinemadness, the podcast, or you follow me personally. So, anyway, I'm doing something a little different here. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the new movie Spiral from the Book of Saw. Yeah, like that. Anyway, um, I didn't want to do a full review because I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it some, and I'm doing this. Well, not live, as in live, but I am doing it live without uh, editing or anything. You might see a couple jumps because I paused the recording, but that's not really editing. That's me not wanting you to hear me cough due to me living in Florida, and it's all allergies all the time. So just wanted to do a little video about. I wanted to talk about Spiral, the new Saw movie. Uh, it's not a review. It's just kind of my thoughts of what I thought of the movie. I'm a big Saw fan, pretty big. If you listen to the podcast, you know that we're all Saw fans, and we were all real excited about this new chapter. A few things. One, it is not a reboot or remake or re anything. It is a continuation. It's actually a greenlit sequel from the box office success of Jigsaw, which wasn't the best movie, but it did well enough that it garnered two sequels, and this is the first one. It took a little while. It took a few years for this one to come out, but it did. It's all well, it's not all paid for, but it's very much funded by Chris Rock himself. He put down the money to get this made, so he's an executive producer. He helped with the story writing. It's still written by the two guys who wrote Jigsaw, but it's a lot different than Jigsaw, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But the best thing is it's directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who did Saw 2, 3, and 4, which are arguably the best Saw sequels. You can't do better than the first movie. But as you go on 2, 3, and 4, 3 is my absolute favorite. So I was very excited about this. Uh, in fact, it's weird that Lionsgate asked him to come back because after 4, they didn't like what he did anymore. So he went and directed Repo the Genetic Opera, and also distributed by Lionsgate, but they didn't have any faith in Repo, so they gave him like no money, and he reused sets from his Saw movies for Repo. So it's weird to see that they got Darren Lynn Bousman back. I knew I was going to screw it up one of these times, but so he's back directing, and it's a very different Saw movie. It's very bright. There's I know Jigsaw did a lot of things outside. Not a lot of things, but they started outside. It was in a barn during the day, so you had some daylight and stuff. But this one is very different. It's very outside. It's not it doesn't take place in one area or one or two areas. It doesn't take place in a lot of claustrophobic things. It's kind of like an outside Saw. It's an outside look on Saw. In fact, the traps are not prevalent in the film. The traps are used as a next step in this mystery that's trying to unfold. It's more of a mystery thriller, uh, going back to the original Saw movie. Instead of it's just being all about the traps and all about the gore, even though there is some really good gore effects. Um, Jigsaw, going back to Jigsaw, it's because it's the movie before it, right before it. Jigsaw did not start with a trap, which was weird, but this one does start with a trap, so it's back to that. But like I said, the traps are not the star of the movie. it's all about the mystery, and it's all about Chris Rock's character being the good cop trying to figure out why this new Jigsaw copycat maybe killer is going after all these cops that have done dirty. It's all about going after bad cops, and it's very topical, unintentionally because this was supposed to come out a year ago. But it's that's and then that's what it's about. There's this mystery unraveling, and all of these hints and stuff are coming right to Chris Rock's character, and it's an interesting story that it's very much more of a mystery than it is a horror movie, and it does keep your attention. Um, I thoroughly had a good time watching this movie. I was really enthralled in the mystery and things unraveling, even though, and my co-host Allison could tell you that I kind of put the pieces together early on in the film, and but I wasn't upset when I realized that I figured it out, because it was a cool lead up, and there was some stuff that I didn't notice, stuff that I had to reflect on, and was like, oh yeah, I could see that now, and oh yeah, there's that misdirection type thing. It's a Saw movie, so you know the ending's going to be all crazy and wacky, but it's done in a well mannered way, and I thoroughly enjoyed the ride. Uh, that's basically it. I thoroughly enjoyed the ride. Chris Rock being in a serious role. Um, I'm still not sold on it. He's a good actor, but his serious face is always squinty, and it's really distracting, because it almost doesn't feel like that he's acting. It just feels like, oh, that's a good look to look serious with, so I'm just gonna stick with it. And it got distracting sometimes. Sometimes it looked like he was just trying to look like Gilbert Gottfried all the time. But it still has his quick-witted humor. His dad is played by Samuel L. Jackson, uh, and there's there's a lot of motherfuckers in this movie. It's very f bomb heavy, actually. Uh, I know I just dropped one, but I'm not gonna keep doing it. It's very f bomb heavy. In fact, one of the people in the theater, oh, and we saw it in the theater, and it was so nice to see a AAA movie in a theater. Um, it felt like times were coming back again. I'm drinking water. It's like 10 in the morning, so I'm not drinking vodka yet. Got another hour to go. Anyway, um, yeah, and Sam Jackson does a good job of being Sam Jackson. Um, he has some vulnerable scenes, which is really strange. It's really strange to see Sam Jackson be vulnerable and not be a complete badass. I know he's getting older, and it's showing, and he's playing like father roles and father of adult people roles and stuff. So, um, but yeah, the movie itself was I really enjoyed it. It's I think it's very worthy of the Saw name. It's different enough to not make it seem like it was back in the time where a Saw movie was coming out every October. They used to say, "Oh, it's October. That means it's Saw season." And even though the movies were entertaining, they got kind of stale. Um, like 4, 5, and 6, I really got confused about who the protagonist and the antagonist was, because they both looked almost alike, and that kind of threw me off. And I had to watch it a couple more times. When I saw them in the theaters, I was like, "Oh, the traps were fun," but I don't get it. But as the years went on and that kind of stuff, this does not involve John Kramer. It is the first Saw movie that does not involve John Kramer. He's mentioned, and there's a picture of him, and that's it. And that's good, because he's been dead since Saw 3, and it's no longer, recordings to prolong his legacy. It's an actual copycat. Uh story, which is not a it's not a spoiler, by the way. Um, I mean, John Kramer's been dead for quite a long time. But I know Jigsaw had some flashbacks and stuff, but this movie actually has no Tobin Bell acting in the movie. He just his picture, which is a shame because I really like Tobin Bell. But you know, it's a new start. They could have him back anytime, you know, for flashbacks and stuff. But this one did not, and it's probably why it's called From the Book of Saw, to get the people to be like, oh well, it's not a Saw movie. It didn't have the real Jigsaw. I mean, you can tell in the by the trailer. I mean, they said it was a copycat, and so I'm not spoiling anything. Second time saying that. Maybe I don't have to cough or pause. This is kind of easy. It's like talking to a friend. How are you today on this Saturday? Is it Saturday? Well, it's Saturday when I recorded it, so that's that's it. Also, the music has never changed, and I don't ever want it to change. It's done by Charlie Clouser. Clouser. I think that's his name. Clouser. It's spelled Clouser, so I'm going to say Clouser. It's Clouser. He's been doing the Saw movies since Saw, and I watched a little documentary on. It was on the Jigsaw DVD about the Saw legacy. It was mainly just about the movie Jigsaw, but they kind of it was an hour and a half long. You can't do an hour and a half long documentary about a movie that's like the eighth movie in a series without going back. So they did, and it was cool to see a longish interview with Charlie Clouser. He's also scored the Resident Evil movies. He took over after Marilyn Manson left the scoring from the first Resident Evil movie, and he's been doing them ever since. And he also scores American Horror Story. So we've got like a horror guy. He came from Nine Inch Nails, and then he became a music. See, that's why I should have cut, but I didn't because we're doing it live. He also became a producer. He produced a lot of Nine Inch Nails stuff. He produced the Natural Born Killer soundtrack, and he produced a lot of Marilyn Manson stuff. That's probably what got him the job for Resident Evil. So he knows dark music. He has an array of weird instruments on this documentary, which is I can't remember the name of it, but it's on the Jigsaw DVD. Um, in this documentary, he talks about this cool instrument. I guess it's an instrument. It's this big piece of flat metal that has like metal things jutting out of it, and it's connected to two strings, so you can tune it into whatever key you want it to be. But he just plays it with a bow, and he plays it all over this sheet of metal with a thing, and it just makes all the saw noises that you hear in the soundtrack. None of those are digitally made, even though he does make the music. The music is done digitally. He the weird noises you hear, that's all on this analog contraption that he bought from a friend who makes really strange instruments. It's a really cool part of the documentary. It was one of my favorite parts of the documentary. And he said, I will still keep making Saw music as long as they make Saw movies. So I'm in. I'm all in. I love Klauser's music, and I like I like Darren Lynn Bousman's directing. Uh, And like I said, it's a bright movie. It's very bright. The trap parts are dark, and they're not drawn out. They're I mentioned before, they're used as a plot device to keep the mystery going. And a lot of the times the traps are flashed. You don't get to see like the whole thing. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you see a little bit more than you think you're going to see, and sometimes they're really disturbing, and other times you don't. A couple of a couple of reasons for that is the movie was originally slated an NC-17 rating. They had to cut some down. There's one trap you don't see at all. You just kind of see a little bit of the aftermath of the trap to further the mystery. And that trap was cut because of the MPAA and the ratings board, and I think it fits well. I think they did a really good job of not emphasizing the traps to make a Saw movie. It was like we can make a Saw movie with traps, but not use the traps as the main story device, and I think it worked really well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Jigsaw or Spiral. Wow, I've got Jigsaw on the brain, and it's not the best movie. Jigsaw really wasn't that great of a film. It had some good traps and stuff, but we're not talking about Jigsaw. We're talking about Spiral, and it was a great theater experience. In fact, it wasn't a full theater because of COVID, but it was a loud theater. During the trailers and stuff, people are still remembering. People are still forgetting that they're not in their living rooms. They can't talk and text and stuff in a movie theater. But once the movie got going, it was dead silent. Like everybody was just paying attention and really into it. The acting was great. The colors colors were fantastic. You always get good coloring in a Saw movie. Um, the the music, the sound, everything was just it was just good. It was fun. It was a fun movie. The only thing was the ending kind of bothered me, and it had nothing to do with the way the story ended. More water. It was because nobody at the end, and they had a perfect chance to, but nobody at the end said game over, and that really bothered me. But it's just a little gripe because I am a Saw fan. Um, the idea for the puppet was really cool. It's not Billy. It's a completely new puppet because it's not John Kramer's Jigsaw Killer. It's a copycat. But the idea for the puppet and how it connects to the movie is really cool. At least I thought it was really cool. So I highly recommend seeing Spiral in the movie theater. If you don't feel ready, then don't wait for it to come home. It's still the same movie. You can still watch it and get the same reactions. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to throw in a little thing about Saw and or Spiral. Now I'm going to Saw. Uh, I just wanted to say that. So that. I hope you guys have a fun rest of your day, weekend, week, whatever, whenever you watch this, and make sure you follow us on the Cinemadness podcast. Check out our stuff on cinemadnesspodcast.com. Follow our YouTube page. Follow our Spotify podcasts. We always have new stuff coming out. We're always trying to post new things. Let me know how you feel about Saw. What is your favorite Saw trap? Let us know in the comments below. And that's it. Have a good night, day, whatever. I don't know.